know. Let's remember that a schedule is very important to them too. Children need consistency, they need limits, and they need to know what to expect. And if you have a schedule and a routine that they can anticipate, that they can trust, that they know what will happen next, then you're going to be setting up your room for success. Limits are important because they need to be able to trust you. They need to know, as we said, what to expect, and in a schedule, they'll know what to expect. Sometimes you may have situations such as grabbing. In that case, you'll need to tell the children what is acceptable. And sometimes they don't know what to say to another classmate. You may have to actually give them words like, "Mary, if you want that from Sheila, you'll need to ask her for it." You need to give choices in your classroom and have plenty of opportunities for them to either play with other children or by themselves. Now, a lot of times people like to impose a timeout on a child, and that is all right if you feel that you've come to the point that a child needs a timeout. But let's remember a rule of thumb. 3 minutes for a 3-year-old is sufficient. This should not be abused, and children should know exactly why they're being placed in a timeout situation. 4-year-olds are very active. You need to be ready for out of bounds, silly, wiggly, moving. A 4-year-old can either enhance your day or can ruin your day. They are very silly and they have a wild imagination. They want to play together. They're very interested in their peers. And sometimes you will have incidents of name-calling or tattletaling or just a general exceeding of limits. Let's remember about our tone of voice when we're talking to children. Assume that somebody has called another child a name. It's your responsibility to make eye contact with them. See if they can understand what other children are feeling when they're being called a name, and give them some other options for what it is that they've just done. Catch your children being good. Try to talk to them when you've realized that they've stayed within some limits that you've set for your classroom. Try to encourage appropriate behavior and encourage them to know what conduct is appropriate when and where. Right now the room is quiet, but after school it comes to life. When school-agers enter the room, they either need to take a nap, run laps, or have a snack. And in an environment like this, they have every opportunity to make decisions as to what they want to do. They may want to be by themselves, and there are plenty of opportunities for them to be quiet. Your staff can prepare a snack for them so that whoever needs to eat or be replenished can have some nutrients so that they can get going again. And the children have an opportunity to go outdoors if they want to run off some energy or just be out of the supervision of the teacher that's in the room with them. Now, a teacher of this age is more of a facilitator, more of a friend, and an arbitrator. If you plan to teach school-age children and you expect to treat them like preschoolers, you're headed for trouble. These children are very social. They want to be with their peers. They want to be involved in the activity choices around them, and they want to be involved in setting limits for the classroom as well. In looking around a classroom that involves school-age children, you'll see a wide variety of activities. You'll need to be in tune to their feelings, and if situations should arise that call for guidance or discipline, one of the primary things to remember is that you need to take their feelings into consideration. In looking around, you'll see that there are things that they can do which involve their whole body, which involve sitting around. They can sit and study and play games, be with one other person or several other people, because they're very, very, very social at this point in time. They've become involved in setting rules for their game room. They've become involved in setting rules for outdoor play, and other activities that they are going to be involved in. Now, supervision at this time of a child's life is important, but they don't have to be under your constant care. You need to be able to hear the children in your care and check on them about every 10 minutes, but they don't have to be around you. They don't have to be within your eye range, and this will give them freedom, and they'll feel that you trust them. In turn, they'll trust you more, and you'll be able to have consistently good days with your school-age children.
Before we finish today, I want to introduce you to Raylyn Moore, a Child Care Center director, who will present to us child care from a director's point of view.
To be an effective teacher, it's important to have a clear understanding of your center's policies. Make sure your center provides general program information so that all staff can be familiar with its policies. 3 examples of some policies would be: 1, the release of children. Who can pick up the children? How do you verify if it's the right person? A second example would be discipline. How is discipline handled in your center? You know, discipline plays a major role in classroom management, so make sure you have a clear understanding of your center's views concerning this matter. A third example would be the transporting procedure. What constitutes a safe vehicle? Who can drive the center vehicle? Who is responsible for reporting and handling repairs? Every center has its own policies, but there are some general regulations that apply to all of us. These general regulations are called licensing requirements. DHS, or the Department of Human Services, sets licensing requirements for all child care centers in the state of Oklahoma. Abiding by these licensing requirements helps to ensure that you work in a safe, well-equipped, sanitized, and properly managed facility. Licensing requirements cover everything underneath the child care umbrella. Let me share just a few examples with you. Behavior and guidance of children, requirements for child care employees, health standards, fire safety, staff-child ratios, and equipment standards. Make sure you comprehend everything in the DHS licensing requirement book, because we are all responsible and accountable for its contents. If you have any questions regarding this book, get with your director, because he or she is there to help you. Now let's move on to our second area of discussion. Let's talk about the common responsibilities of a child care teacher. As a new teacher, you will have many responsibilities in your classroom. You probably already wear many hats as a student, spouse, or parent. Well, now you have another hat to add to your collection, for you have earned your professional caregiver hat. As a professional, it's important to set a good example and put your best foot forward every day by concentrating on your 5 areas of responsibilities. How do you do that? Well, it's easy. Just remember these letters: D, W, C, C, R. These letters form the memory phrase, dedicated and wonderful child care representative. Let's look at the first letter, D. It stands for day-to-day responsibilities of your classroom. As a teacher, you are responsible for the schedule and routine in your classroom. Take time to offer a prepared environment. Also, make sure your classroom follows the state guidelines. If you notice any areas of concern, take responsibility and immediate action for them. The second letter is W. It stands for working together with parents. The success of any child care center depends on its staff and their cooperation with the parents. Parents and teachers should work together as a team. When parents and teachers work together, everybody's job is easier. For example, toilet training is more effective when parents and teachers use the same procedure. This makes the child feel comfortable because he's dealing with consistency, and this will lead to ultimate success. Now let's look at our third letter, which is C. C stands for confidentiality. Many times, you'll be the first person a parent sees after he or she has left their work environment. For this very reason, you may be exposed to some privileged information, such as loss of a job, divorce, bankruptcy, etc. It is your duty as a child care professional to keep this information confidential. That same confidentiality applies to your coworkers. You'll be making friends with the teachers in your center. Be a coworker that can be trusted and depended on. Moving right along to our fourth letter, which is another C. C stands for communication with your director. Communication is a two-way system. Remember, you are in your classroom much more than your director. He or she may not be aware that you have a broken toy